Hi everyone! Welcome to Art Flow for November. Today I'm going to be painting an autumn landscape, or what autumn looks like in Houston, Texas. Some of you may know that I grew up in New England. New England autumns are very colorful and bright. Since I moved to Texas, I've learned to appreciate the softer shift in colors and temperatures that you find in a Houston fall. Even though the leaves and the trees around me haven't really turned bright oranges or golds, at least not in my neighborhood, they are starting to fade. The greens are a little softer, some of the trees are starting to tint more orange, just a little bit, and the sky is looking softer as well. Instead of the bright blue of summer, you're getting more of a soft blue and gray, and that's what I'm going to be painting today. I talked in my first Art Flow video about painting in plein air, or painting outdoors. Today I'm going to be doing that again, and this time I've ventured a little farther afield. I have my paint box and some brushes in a variety of sizes. I brought some water, and some cups, and paper towels. I also brought a little Ziploc bag to use as a trash bag later on. You never want to leave any trash behind you when you paint outdoors. And I brought my sketchbook. First, I'm very roughly sketching in the shape of the trees and the horizon in the landscape. I really don't want to put too much detail in this drawing because I'm going to be filling in most of the details and shapes with paint. The sketch is just to give me a rough idea of where things are and also how they're positioned on the page. It was interesting filming this with the camera looking right over my shoulder. I also had people walking up and down the path next to me who would sort of stop and look over my shoulder at what I was doing. Alright, so first I'm using a large filbert brush. A filbert brush is a flat brush with a curve at the tip. But I'm using this brush to fill in the sky and also the shape of the trees and the grass. The filbert is one of my favorite types of brushes, and I have a lot of them in different sizes. If you start experimenting with different types of brushes, you'll find a few favorites of your own too. The grass is fading to a dull gold green in most places, along with the trees, and I'm going to try to reflect that in the colors that I mix. You can see that I have left a lot of areas on this paper white or very close to white, especially in the sky. I've mentioned in other videos that in traditional watercolor there is no white paint. Any white that you want in your final painting is the white of the paper or the canvas you're working on. So you need to think ahead a little bit and try to paint around the areas you want to leave white. In this instance, since I want some white clouds by the horizon, I've left that area white, and I also want a little hint of cloud peeking through the trees, so I've left some random jagged white shapes blank in the trees. Now I'm painting in some more color into the grass. I'm leaving the path a very, very pale beige color. The lightest colors that I washed in first are also going to work as the highlights on the culvert. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute or two. Now I'm mixing in the shadows. You can see that the sun is to my left when I'm painting this, so the shadows are slanting down across me and across the paper while I'm painting. Whenever you're painting something, try to keep in mind what direction the light is coming from. Is it straight above? Is it diagonal? Is it coming from the side or from beneath? This will change where your highlights are and the direction your shadows are cast. I'm going to build up the dark greens in the trees and the shadows a little bit at a time. You can also see that I just scrubbed out an area that I realized I wanted to use as a highlight to to show the sun peeking through some of the branches. So I used a little bit of clean water and a paper towel to do that. Where the sun is hitting the leaves are a much brighter gold color, and that's what I'm painting in right now. I'm also trying to show some of the light peeking through the bushes by adding some of that bright gold to the grass. Now I'm softening some of the edges between the trees and the horizon to make it look a little bit softer and smokier. This helps create the illusion of distance in the painting. I have this video speeded up about 3 times the speed that I was actually painting. So if you need to pause or go back to look at anything, feel free to do so. I'm darkening the shadows a little bit and then softening them towards the edge. I'm trying to use random jagged strokes to add texture to the bushes and to the trees. Shapes in nature are really very random and unpredictable. It's easy to start painting patterns because as humans we like to make patterns out of things, but to get something that really looks like it's close to nature, try to make it as random as possible unless you can see a very clear pattern in what you're painting. It'll make it look more natural in the end. I'm taking some blue and adding in a few touches at the top to show the sky peeking through the branches. I'm going to go back and add just a few more little touches here and there. Some darker leaves where the shadows are the thickest. And now I'm going back to the culvert to try to make it stand out a little bit more. Painting in the concrete. And I'm about finished. I'm going to write today's date and where I was painting on the back of the page. I probably should have waited a little bit longer before I did this because as you can see I ended up with a little bit of paint smearing from one page to another. But that's alright. And I'm going to set that aside open so it can dry a little bit. Remember, when you paint outdoors, it's important to clean up after yourself. I'm wiping some of the extra water off of my paint box and then tucking my trash into the little bag. I'll take that back home with me and put it in a trash can. And here's the finished painting. Thank you for watching, and I hope this inspires you to go outside and paint.